introduction. Senator Manchin, you want to proceed? Thank
First
you,
of all,
Speaker.
to my colleagues and to you, Mr. Chairman, for allowing me this opportunity to introduce a most accomplished young lady. It's really an honor to introduce Acting Administrator of the Federal Railroad Administration and a friend of mine, Sarah Feinberg. As you know, she's from West Virginia, grew up in the most common sense, a nonpartisan state, if you will. As a native West Virginian, she has the same pragmatic approach to problem solving that you see among our congressional delegation every day. In West Virginia, it doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. You just got to get something done. People expect you to do your job. I want to tell you when I first was introduced to this young lady. In 1983, her daddy was in the state legislature with me, Lee Feinberg, and he brought this little girl in, 6 years old, 5 or 6, I think, at the time. And we all bring our kids and show our kids off. You all remember that state legislature, and here comes this little girl, just rambunctious, jumping around and running around the chamber and everything. That was my first introduction to Sarah. I watched her grow into a young lady and then to a most accomplished young woman, and she has done such a fantastic job, and we're so proud. She comes out of the same, she's cut from the same cloth as we have in Sylvia Burwell, a West Virginia native. I think you found to be very pragmatic and responsive to all of us. But today she sits before the committee seeking to continue her public service as Administrator of the Federal Railroad Administration. Over the past 9 months, I believe she has proven herself to be an effective and engaged leader with the courage to make tough decisions and the character to accept criticism that they often incite. She was baptized by fire after being appointed to this position January 9th of this year, leading the agency's response to 5 major incidents within her first 60 days on the job. On February the 3rd, 6 people were killed when a commuter train hit an SUV at a grade crossing in Valhalla, New York. On February 4th, 14 tank cars carrying ethanol derailed just north of Dubuque, Iowa. 3 of them caught fire. On February 16th, 27 tank cars derailed outside Mount Carbon, West Virginia. They released 378,000 gallons of crude oil and ignited a fire that destroyed a nearby house. Could have wiped out a whole community if it had been a mile down the track. On February 24th, a commuter train in Oxnard, California hit a tractor trailer at a grade crossing and jumped the tracks. On March 6th, 21 cars derailed outside of Galena, Illinois, near the border with Wisconsin. 5 of them caught fire. I'm a firm believer that elected officials need to be on the ground in emergency situations, supporting first responders and assisting those in need. And I was impressed by Sarah's response to the Mount Carbon derailment in West Virginia, which I witnessed firsthand. 5 weeks into her new job, she executed an efficient and effective federal response that was one of the best I've ever seen. In my experience as elected official, has been through many tragedies in my state. There are a lot of smart policy people here in Washington, D.C., but the best policy in the world won't mean a thing if it doesn't translate into the real world. Sarah's response to the Mount Carbon accident showed me that she understood that and gave me faith in her ability, not just to lead, but to listen to the people that we're here to serve. Over the past 10 years, the increase in domestic energy production has been an engine of economic growth for our great country, and the Energy Information Administration predicts that growth to continue through 2020. From 2009 to 2014, crude oil production in the United States increased by more than 62%, up from 5.35 million barrels per day in 2009 to 8.68 million barrels per day in 2014. And the majority of this product is moved by rail. In 2008, our railroads moved a meager 9,500 tank cars carrying crude oil. Remember this figure. In just 2008, only 9,500 tank cars were carrying crude oil. Last year, the number grew to 500,000 tank cars. 500,000 from less than 10,000. Over a 5,000% increase. Unprecedented new challenges come along with the new economic opportunities presented by the growth in domestic energy production, and Ms. Feinberg's experience makes her uniquely qualified to lead the FRA through this transition. As Chief Staff to Secretary Fox, she helped the Department of Transportation develop a holistic strategy to improving the safety and security of crude oil by rail that required coordination between multiple administrations within the department. The tough new tank car safety regulations that were finalized in May were dependent on close collaboration between the FRA and the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration. Sarah's experience in the Secretary's office, existing relationships throughout the department allowed her to cut through red tape and get the right people in the room to get the job done. That's what it's about, putting people together that want to get something done. While the new rules do not solve every problem, they represent a major step in the right direction. They satisfied all or part of the 10 outstanding national transportation safety board's recommendations, including all 4 recommendations that were made in April this year. So since taking the helm at the FRA earlier this year, I've been impressed with Ms. Feinberg's willingness to tackle difficult issues and engage stakeholders about realistic solutions, taking politics out of the equation completely. In May, she convened the PTC task force to try to identify opportunities for the FRA to help railroads meet the December 31, 2015 deadline and become a real partner in the process. I think her proactive approach to problem solving will be an asset to the FRA and the entire Department of Transportation and to all of us sitting here responsible for the safety of our citizens in our respective states. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you not only an accomplished young professional committed to public service, and she inherited that in her genes and her bones. It's with her every day, and a bipartisan way to get things done to move this country forward. My friend, Sarah Feinberg.